So I'm here with Chris Waggoner, who is a musher and one of the faculty members of Karen Pryor. Yeah?
Well, not a faculty member. I do work there and I do speak for the group.
She's pretty flash, just quietly. Yeah. But what's really cool about her is she's a musher. So tell us, what the hell is urban mushing and why did you get into it?
So urban mushing is an alternative method of giving your dog exercise, taking a dog that loves to pull and putting that to good use. So I had Siberian Huskies with too much energy, and it was a great way to resolve that nicely.
And so anyone that's watching this is going to be like, yeah, I've got a dog that pulls, but how ridiculous that I'm going to let my dog pull because that's going to make it more of a puller.
You know, that's what people tend to think, but it actually seems to have the opposite effect. There's something about putting that pulling, that need to pull that dogs have into a context that seems to, and I can't explain why or how, but it seems to actually reduce pulling when you're taking the dog walking on leash.
That would probably be because the dog's needs are being met,
Probably.
and it's out of context when it's just on the collar and the lead. It's kind of like the way, you know, I try and get people into sheep herding if their dogs chase things, for the simple reason that if, you know, there's kids out there that like to steal cars and go for a joyride, but of course once they learn how to drive properly, or they may do it as a job, the likelihood of them ever doing it out of context, like stealing a car, is reduced dramatically. I mean, I don't think you'd find too many taxi drivers that are going to steal a car in the middle of the night and go for a joyride because it's part of the context of their job.
Right, and I think it also there's a bond that develops and a means of communicating between you and that dog that does transfer over into other parts of your life together, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and the best thing that you find bond-wise between you and your dogs when you're out there mushing?
The best thing? Well, it's hard to say what's best. Watching the dogs, the happiness that they feel, getting to finally stretch their muscles and just go for it. I love being outside with them. It's fun for me. And it's kind of an old sport, and I like the tradition of it as well. I like being a part of it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not talking about, you do live in Oregon, and
Right.
it does snow there, but we're not talking about doing it on skis like Sijori,
No, we're
or
not.
we're not talking about doing those massive, big, amazing races they do in Alaska. It's actually, you've got a trike, or you've got a scooter, and the dogs are tethered to it, and then they pull it in, what sort of harnesses?
It's only for fun, first of all, and the harnesses vary. There are, it depends on your dog, and it depends on the sport you're going to be participating in with that dog. So there are X-backs, which is the typical harness that you see in the Iditarod. There are H-backs. There's a harness for every dog and every sport.
And we got to talk yesterday about the dogs that we have in Australia, the pig dog types that might benefit from this sport. How do you see the sport being able to go from not just being for huskies that are bred to pull, or the other types of dogs that are bred to pull, but other larger dogs that for some reason love to pull their owners walking down the street, and therefore the owners don't walk, or the midnight walkers? How do you see it benefiting those guys?
Well, it's a chance to be with your dog and participate in a shared activity. I think no matter the breed or the person, there's something that you can find to do together. And this is a way to use your dog's natural energy and natural wish to pull, and it gets you outside. And so also for people who have difficulty with mobility, this might be an option for them as well if they're using a scooter or a bike.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The dog's doing all the work.
Exactly.
And so, you know, if you are one of those people that is such a drama to go walking because you come back exhausted, your shoulder is out of its socket, and, you know, you don't have time, whereas the dog is really exerting so much energy. So instead of having to do a 15K walk, you may have to do just 1 or 2Ks, but the dog is exerting so much more energy over a shorter period of time. So the excuse bank that you may have is really deducted by urban mushing.
I agree, yes.
And also one thing or two things that you think everyone needs to take into account before they get into the sport of urban mushing.
Well, so first of all, you need to make sure that your dog is healthy, and that's common sense. the other thing I would say to take into consideration is the environment that you're mushing in. You want to make sure it's safe for other people.
Yep.
And also the weather. You know, if it's too hot or even too cold, depending on the breed, you want to take that into consideration as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
And
my
I really
pleasure.
hope the sport takes off in Australia, because I think that
I hope
there are
so.
so many dogs out there that I see walking down the street that are pulling people, or there are people out there that say, oh, I can't take my dog for a walk because of it. And I
Right.
think this sport really is going to cater to those types of dogs.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Thanks.
All right.